Meeple Syrup Aftershow. Designers discussing design. We're on episode 27. Or does life imitate art? I have to first put on the record,
And
because Dylan was smack talking me during the live show. I don't have a baby beard.
That's
okay. I have a man beard.
You don't have a
man beard.
Okay, I have a baby beard.
Quite.
my beard is as smooth as a baby's bottom. That's how baby beard I am.
But man, did that time fly by. So we're just going to keep the party going. And hopefully, I mean, normally we wouldn't share the link until Friday, but we just feel like good times are flowing. There's lots of chat going on. So hopefully you found this link if you're watching and you're still with us. Or if you're watching this later, thanks for tuning in and watching our videos. We really appreciate you tuning in. For anyone that's curious, if you haven't, you didn't see the beginning of our show and you're wondering what the heck is on my hat, that is, no, I'm not covering up like a beer logo or something that I can't advertise. No, if anything, I'm actually representing the Netherlands well because I did it in a very fiscally responsible way. In that I just made my own little logo, Toy Vault, because we just don't have our major sponsor materials yet, and so my shirt here also has the lovely R&R Games.
You know, when you say Toy Vault, I just picture Scrooge McDuck diving into a...
That's what I picture too!
Isn't that a beautiful thought? That's
It just makes me happy.
Except some of those toys are probably pointy.
Well, they have very plush... They have a plush Cthulhu.
Yeah, their big things are actually plushies.
Yeah. I have to say, while Daryl is going Dutch on the hat, I'm going to Dutch Uncle Sin and say, how in the middle of the last show did you play an entire turn of Star Realms against me? Like, what is this?
That's what happens when you call up video screens and people can't see you.
It's like, Cthulhu.
Look, oh hey, you have it. Look, nice.
I love it.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you have the slippers?
No, I don't.
Oh.
Hey.
Some nice product placement for Toy Vault. Ed'll be happy.
We planned that, right?
Yeah, totally.
I love your Cthulhu as much as he loves you.
That was the wrong thing to say.
Now we're all gonna go insane.
Yeah. It's a good
Thanks,
time.
Obama. Thanks,
Obama. Hey, there's no one American on this show.
Hey, it is the first time for everything. Actually, we've had all Canadians before.
Finally.
Is this our first South American? I think, Ariel, you might be our first South American.
Yes!
Hey!
I do have to say, so, like, I'm just getting back to this. I've known, Ariel since 2006, and this is, I think, Ariel, you said yesterday, this is the first time we've actually spoken face-to-face. Well, like, pseudo face-to-face.
Almost close to face-to-face.
Close to face-to-face. It's only a hemisphere. I mean, what's a hemisphere, right? And but
excuses. That's what it is.
Weird story. So I was living in Shanghai a little while back, and Ariel's brother-in-law just happens to be a professor of architecture in Montevideo. And so there's the most wonderful thing about architecture students in Uruguay is they get to do a 1-year world tour to just study architecture all around the world. And so he was coming to Shanghai. So here I was in Shanghai with Ariel's brother-in-law, never having actually met Ariel face-to-face, drinking mojitos in the middle of, like, my favorite mojitos in the world, and I've been some places. And he was uncomfortable speaking English, so we were speaking French the entire night. And so that was quite fun. But, like, we've got this connection for years and years and years. This is the first time we're seeing each other face-to-face.
Wow, I think I'm going to shed a single tear for both of you. Hold on, wait a minute.
It just touched my heart.
Shedding a tear because you didn't bring mojitos for us.
And he's been places.
Hey, mojitos are tasty. I don't like alcohol that much, but I like lime. Lime is good.
Oh yeah. And you know,
I prefer my beer.
Beer is good.
Yes, beer, good. Let's chat a little bit more about art. So it seemed completely unintentionally, that the last show was very TMG heavy.
Yeah.
Which is, that's going to happen when you have people on the show that are associated heavily with TMG as being pretty much their start in the industry. Myself, Rob, and Ariel, we all pretty much kind of got our start with Tasty Minstrel, and Seth was a big part of that as a connection. And Dylan knows Seth from way back in BGDF days as well. And so it's going to happen.
And I just love Seth.
Yeah, you guys, it's TMG. They're great. But let's talk about some of the other projects you guys have done artistically lately. What other things have you done, Rob? Ariel?
So, you can go ahead first. Go ahead.
No, good.
Nope. Ariel, you're next.
Okay. Well, I think after I finish Exotic, I will be working on Matt Warden, another BGDFer designer on Jamgate. He's going to self-publish Jamgate, and he invited me to do the art for that.
And is that going on Kickstarter?
I really don't know. I think yes. I think it's going to be on Kickstarter. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
I don't think he has the resources to self-publish from just his bank account or whatever.
Yeah. One of the things that we've heard from a lot of other artists, Josh Capel in particular, is that working for a Kickstarter is actually really different. Like the workflow is different, the workload is different, and then like what Rob was saying, like the input, whether it's warranted or not, from the backers gets to be interesting, to coin that phrase in a nice enough way. Have you done Kickstarter work before, Ariel?
I did with City Hall with Michael Keller.
Right.
I think he ran two times. No, it was one time. Michael ran it to self-publish, and the project failed. Then Tasty Minstrel tried to run one for. That's Matt.
It is. Hi, Matt. I think somebody shared the wrong link with you, Matt, but that's okay now that you're here. That's pretty hilarious. We were seriously just talking about it.
I was like, mute that guy. I don't know who he is, so I just muted him.
Matt, you can unmute yourself. That's totally fine. I think Daryl was worried that we were being like invaded from Cthulhu, from Rob dancing and calling Cthulhu down on us or something.
Someone do the Macarena.
There's nothing wrong. We don't have anything to worry about. Don't fear Cthulhu.
Well, the link I clicked on is what Dylan just put on Twitter, so.
Hey, nice. Nicely done, Dylan.
You might get a herd.
Dylan, did you put the wrong link?
Thank you for just randomly making a cameo on our show. We appreciate that.
Well, there you go. Hey, Matt, tell us about Junket.
I didn't leak any links at all.
Okay, no more mojitos. No more mojitos for
No
Dylan.
more mojitos.
Or not enough mojitos.
Yeah.
Our mojito balance is off. That's
I'll go back to Twitter and see what link I should be clicking on.
That he was
it's
talking
fine.
about it. No, tell us about Jumpgate, and then we'll
Don't go. Because you're here, and we were seriously just talking about
Jumpgate.
I totally planned that.
I don't know.
Totally planned.
But tell us about it, man.
I assume Ariel was talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've always wanted to do a real production of it, since I've really only ever done it through print on demand.
Right.
And so I started talking to Ariel, was like late fall, I think, this past year, about kind of some ideas and bouncing it off him, and he said he would be interested in playing along that, and I was like, oh great, now I know what we're doing. So that was pretty awesome.
Excellent. And is this going to Kickstarter?
Well, I'm bringing a different game to Kickstarter in May, and we're going to see how that goes first.
Right.
So either if that goes well, I may kickstart Junkgate. Otherwise, we'll see if I can figure out a way to fund it and just get it out there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go back to the regularly scheduled program. So Matt, we're gonna say goodbye to you.
Thanks, Matt, for popping in.
Thanks for popping in.
Yeah, guys.
We'll see you later, buddy.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Guys, this is what happens when you make the password for the after party swordfish. Everyone knows it's swordfish.
Everyone knows it's swordfish.
Yeah, we didn't tell him to go to the corner store and hold an egg and give an egg to a guy. We should have done that totally. Oh man. So, Jumpgate, awesome.
Yeah,
Rob,
that was
what are your
perfect.
experiences been like with working with Kickstarter, positive and negative?
Kickstarters are crazy. Kickstarters tend to be really intense. You have to try to do. Usually, my experience with Kickstarters is that the timelines are much shorter because you need to have a lot of stuff to show your Kickstarter crowd, right? I mean, like you got to have stuff there, so you got to get a lot done really early, and then there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of really little things that you constantly you'll be sitting there. My experience is that I'll be sitting there and I'll be drawing something, and then a little chat thing will pop up from Michael, be like, "Hi," and I go, "Oh no, what now?" And he says, I need you to create a little image.
I get the same feeling.
Yeah, it says like I need an image that's 400 by 600 that says the following things with this unique new illustration. I'm like, when do you need it? Oh, like now. Great. I'm gonna do that because Kickstarter, right? It's intense. Like you got to have things you have to promote. I mean, Kickstarter is one of those things that's like Kickstarters are alive and you have to keep feeding them, right? And they are voracious things, and you have to keep adding art to them. You have to keep adding PR resources and stuff constantly. All these things going on, but that's how they're successful. If you do that stuff and you keep it alive and you keep the monster fed, then it will be great. But it's intense for sure.
It's much like an elder god.
It takes definitely a lot of attention. We also were talking about other games that people have done. I got to come back to Rob about a couple games because we've talked about both of them. As the news about them dropped, we talked about Dragon Flame and actually have had Matt Loomis on the show, and then also we got to talk about Dead Drop. So tell us a little bit about both of those projects.
Yeah, Jason was on the show
too. What it was like to work with Minion and what it was like to work with Patrick at Crash.
So Minion. First, I guess I'll start with Minion. With Dragon Flame. Dragon Flame was fun. I mean, someone approaches me and they're like, "Hey, man, we want you to draw a whole bunch of dragons, and we're going to give you money for it." And I go, "Wow, is it Christmas?" I was into it. I was all about Dragon Flame. I mean, it was a ton of fun. I got to do a couple different kinds of dragons and a ton of treasures and things like that. I mean, it was a joyous time. I really got to kind of. Do the kind of stuff that I really like doing, and so
it's a great game. It's a great game. I have an advanced copy.
I haven't played it yet, and I'm itching for it. Like I've got the junkie itch to play this game that my art's on, right? So it was really cool. Like I got to do one of my favorite things to do is the treasure chests. Oh, that was fun. Just doing these cool little treasure chests. Hey, and then there's that dragon that I drew for the cover. I mean, come on, how often do you get to draw a dragon burning a village to the ground, right? And then the whole time I was I was doodling it the whole time and just going, truck door burning into the village, and it was cool. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and the whole process was really interesting because it was the first time that I had worked with somebody who was really hands-on with their feedback for the art stuff, and they really knew what they wanted for the art, and the first time I got a message from them, I was like, oh no, it's going to be one of these projects, but it was actually a really pleasant experience. I mean, it's kind of nice. There's two things that you want when you're working on a project as an artist. You either want somebody who's you know what, do whatever you want, right? Because that's freeing. You're oh, relax, and you kick your shoes off and stuff and do your thing. But then the other thing is when somebody has a very specific idea for something, that's actually good because you can kind of zero in on what you want very fast, and there's not this. I mean, as an artist, you're plagued with this kind of I don't know, is it good? Did I do good? I don't know. Is this right? I'm not sure if it's going to work out. It's just a thing that most artists have to deal with, and when that's taken away from you, it's actually kind of relieving in a lot of ways. So that was good. I like that a lot. And the game looked awesome. The graphic design they added to it, they contracted me to do just the illustrations with kind of blank backgrounds, and they added a lot of flair to it and stuff, and it looks really, really cool.
The cards are nicely laid out.
Yeah, I love the look of it and stuff. So that was a lot of fun, and I didn't have to worry about the graphic design of that. I was just illustrating, so that was nice and relaxing.
And then what about Dead Drop?
Dead Drop was like it was kind of a small contract for me, right? Because Dead Drop ended up being a really big thing.
Yep.
But largely because you had so many artists contributing to it, right?
Yes.
But for me, it was actually a pretty small contract. But like because I knew I only had so many illustrations I needed to do, and I knew I was doing that fantasy thing, which I'm kind of becoming. It's kind of becoming my bag.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, is this your style? Or are you being?
I love it. I mean, you know what? You guys got like you guys out in the interwebs. Like, you have games that involve fantasy art. Come hit me up. I'm all about that.
Your cards were, in my opinion, some of my faves of the Dead Drop. They were just gorgeous.
That's awesome. I worked really hard on it. And the funny thing about that was that so when I got this contract, like I was excited about it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be really cool and stuff like that. But then the timing was really weird for it. I was actually just about to head to like my first holiday in years. I was going to Disneyland, right? And I was stopping at my friend's place in Georgia for the week, and I was like, so I gotta work a little bit in the week while we're there before we go to Disneyland. He's like, sure, like, a day or two. I'm like, is it the week? Like, he's like, I'm sorry, what did you say, the week? I was like, yeah, kind of the week, the whole time. But it was fine because he was working largely a lot of time too. So I just kind of slummed it in his office and everything. And we just like, I had my little ghetto set up and like doing the art. But it turned out really great. I had a lot of fun with it, right? Like I was able to, because it was all I had to do. Like it was like away from my desk and stuff like that. I could really focus on like having fun with the art and doing like pushing it and stuff. And
did you bring your Cintiq down with you?
I had kinda, yeah. I have two Cintiqs, right? So I have
Can I have one?
I know what it looks. So I've got this one right here. This is my baby. Oh, I love this one. This is it's on an arm, which is why I can move it like that.
Oh, nice. So it's like an ergonomic arm. Perfect.
Yeah, it's from Ergotron, right? So
yeah.
They do medical arms and stuff, right? So
yeah, I use them every day of my life.
Exactly. So I got that. I love it. It's fantastic. And then what I did is I bought a 12-inch Cintiq, which is actually like way up there in this shelf right there. It's hidden by the red box.
With your basic set. Awesome.
Right. No, that's my son's basic set. When he gets old enough, it's still in shrink wrap. Yeah.
Nice.
So just go straight to 5e, man. It's awesome.
What?
Sense converted.
No, we're gonna start the edition wars now, but no, I'm not gonna get it. But I bought a 12-inch Cintiq because I wanted a mobile setup, and I'm actually about to sell the thing because it's not actually very mobile. It's got lots of cords and like a video block as well as a power block. It's weird. So it's not super mobile, but that's what I brought down with me. Since then, I bought like a Surface Pro. If anybody's out there who is an artist and they want a mobile solution and they're happy working with Windows and stuff like that, the Surface Pro is fantastic. It's really, 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 really good.
You know what? I just had the Surface Pro in to spec it out, and it's nice. I just can't get over Windows 8. I just can't.
It's not so bad for me. I mean, like, what I do with mine is, like, okay, the thing I like about it the most is that it, like, when the pen comes close, it's first Wacom technology, right? Second, when the pen comes close, it completely turns off the touchscreen, right? So you can just, like, because I draw like a caveman. I, like, put my fist down and I, like, drag the stylus across the screen, right? And so it works for me because I bought an iPad and I couldn't do it. I was just like, I can't draw with my hand above the screen. So it didn't work for me. But the Surface Pro is a lot of fun. It works well. And then what I did, which actually makes it work well for me, is I paired it with a little programmable gaming keyboard, a Razer Nostromo. And so I have all my Photoshop shortcuts on that one little pad, and I just have that like on the side, and I can draw freely as if I was like sitting at a full work setup. It's really good, and I mean, and the fact that it's so small and yet like a full, not just like a tablet, it's like a full PC. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it to anybody who's like either can't afford a full Cintiq setup, because like I got mine. It's like a Surface Pro 1 that was refurbished. I think they're like $400 now. So I mean, it's hard to beat that kind of price, right? So if you are Canadian, go check out Future Shop because they have them for cheap. But yeah, they're it's really good. I like it a lot. So that one's got to go. It's going to head off onto the interwebs, onto the.
Yeah. What do you think, Ariel? Do you need one? Do you need a Cintiq, Ariel?
No, I want a Cintiq. Yeah.
Maybe we can make some connections.
Right here.
Do I hear $1? Do I hear $1?
Whoa!
$1. We were having a really fun discussion before the whole thing started earlier with Ariel about kind of standing on the outside looking into the design process when you're a graphic designer and you're watching someone else doing the graphic design for your game. So how did that feel for Grand Slam?
Yeah, it was weird because they really they were very, very nice, but they didn't let me know what was happening since I signed the contract till all the art was almost ready. So I didn't have any chance to actually have any input on the process. But at the same time, I didn't want to get too involved because I wanted to enjoy the more relaxed approach of seeing how my game, my baby, was growing up and becoming an independent published game. So it was kind of fun, yeah.
But how about like now you're working so much in game art? Are you getting any time to do any of your old design stuff? And like where do you want to be? Do you want to get more designs out there?
I love to, but first I want to do so many stuff, so many different things that I tend to embark into 10 different projects at a time and not finish anything. So
you and me both.
Unless there's a client asking me for the finished stuff. So my personal projects tend to remain unfinished for years. But actually, in the case of Love Me Nothing, I had the game finished. I only needed to make the final version of the rulebook with some changes I had in mind and had decided, and that took like 2 years since I last worked on the game, on the prototype, till I knew about the contest and rushed in a morning to enter the contest. So unless there's something really pushing me to finish the projects, I tend to not do much. And I haven't done any game designing, I think, like a year.
Wow.
Well, I gotta follow up on one of the art jobs that you recently did, City Hall. I think it's got it pulled up. You were mentioning before, but it was off air, and I think it would be interesting for people to hear. How did you originally get connected with that project? And maybe describe a little bit of the art style and stuff, because it's still just kind of leaking out there now. People are discovering the game. I saw it at Gen Con, but an advanced copy, but it's now just finally kind of getting out there, I believe.
Yeah, well, I first met the designer of the game, Michael Keller, in New York. My sister-in-law lives in New York, and when I go to visit her, I try to meet some other designers in the area. Mm-hmm. And I have met, I think it was in 2007, I met Michael Keller in Spilbany, in Troy. And afterwards, I haven't had much contact with him, but in 2011, 12, I think, Seth Jaffe told me that Michael Keller was about to publish Captains of Industry with them and was looking for an artist for his game City Hall that he wanted to kickstart and self-publish. And Seth told him about me, and he already knew me, so we met in New York, and I played the game with him and another friend, and I really liked the game from the start, but I particularly liked the theme and the era. It was in 1930s New York, and I really liked the Art Deco from New York in that era. So I really got involved and I really enjoyed working with that. And it was great because that was one of the clients that give you free reign and do whatever you want. I worked totally free and was able to do whatever I wanted. Michael just was focused on the things that really made to the mechanics of the game, but in terms of art, he was was great because he gave me total freedom.
Excellent.
It's a beautiful game. Absolutely.
I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about just components. How much of the work do you guys do on like the money and the counters and all that kind of stuff? Do you pick the shapes? I know Josh does a lot of that kind of stuff with the wood, and he has this whole ideal about, can't be the same shape and the same can't be the same color and all this stuff. Do you guys feel the same way, or do you actually get involved with that part of the componentry as well as the layout and the board and the cards and the rules and whatnot? What do you guys do?
Yeah, I'm with Josh on that. I try to make everything different and identifiable and easy to follow the connection, and try to use similar colors for similar things or meanings. So in ground floor, for example, smaller denominations of information and currency and money have similar colors, and higher denominations had similar colors, but all the info has the shape of a folder, and the money has the shape of a bill.
Right.
So,
okay. Cool.
Yeah,
For me,
like
largely, I haven't had too much control over some of the shaped components and stuff like that, like wooden pieces and things like that. It's largely a lot of that stuff tends to be because a lot of the stuff I've been working on has been Kickstarter based, right? So a lot of that is like highly dependent on like how well the Kickstarter does, whether we're able to do that kind of thing. So for me, it's been one of those things where, like, as much as I would like to be able to do stuff like that, it's kind of outside of my realm of decision making. So like I try to avoid doing that kind of stuff in my design. But at the same time, like, doing, like, I do like to work with silhouette a lot, and like having, similar silhouettes and things like that, color schemes. The color scheme's been an interesting thing lately, actually, because of more and more games, and I mean, rightly so, let's face it, right? More and more game companies are requesting that, we have to be more mindful of color choices that are friendly for like colorblind folk and everything, and like that's a thing, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who suffer from that, and some games, there's some games who have, like, done an amazing job of, like, of being able to cater to people who do have, like, colorblind issues and stuff. Like, you look at something like Ticket to Ride. I mean, like that, like it sings as far as, like, it's inclusion for people who have color blindness, right? Like, just being able to have the iconography. Like, a friend of mine is colorblind, and he has a really hard time with things a lot of the times. Like, the one thing that kind of ends up being an issue for him is when he's actually, like, when you're actually looking at the trains at the end, and he's like, some of these I know are mine, otherwise I don't know, right? But they did what they can, and we, as board game designers, this is like a new thing. We really have to take this into consideration, and it's a weird gear to change, but, like, it's something that we talked about a lot, because color is such an easy way for you to distinguish things and link things together, right? It's like, and as an artist, it's so intuitive. You're like, no, this will be green. It makes sense, right? But you can't do it sometimes. Like, now we have to think about it. It's like, well, okay, if this is green and this is red, well, that's not going to work anymore. If they're not distinct shapes or silhouettes, we have to do something. And so, like, we're like working in much more muted tones and everything, like what we did with Harbor. Like, we did two things. I mean, we chose to go with the certain colors and stuff like that are supposedly color blindness friendly, right? Like, they're easily distinguishable and stuff, despite what kind of color blindness you have. But the one thing that we decided to do in the end, we were like, what, we want to be able to give it the kicker and make sure that it's not going to confuse people, so we included the stickers. And not everybody likes the stickers, but the reality is you don't really need to use the stickers if you don't want to, but hey, stickers, right? So yeah, it's a weird thing, because it's one of the things that, like Ariel said, like, when I think of of design, like, my mind goes immediately to color, because that's so good, it's so rich, and it makes my eyes happy, right? But it's becoming a thing that I have to think about, and especially with something like Kickstarters, where people are so vocal about it. They're like, well, I'm colorblind, how am I going to do this? Like, it's in your face. That kind of, these problems and stuff like that are like they're vocal, and, like, they're right there. You have to pay attention to them. So it's been a weird thing to have to deal with, but also informative, right? I think it's a good change, really. Cool.
So this is totally patting myself on the back, but this just came in from the Gamma conference in Las Vegas. This is the next game from Jay and myself. You don't see our
really?
name on it because, unfortunately, we couldn't negotiate that. Usually when it's a very powerful IP, we don't get our names on it, which is totally fine. But yeah, this is the Orphan Black card game. At least what it looks like in the wet box.
Nice.
So there's nothing in it. I don't think there's anything in it yet. But yeah, so.
Are you kidding? No, there's a game in there, isn't there?
I doubt it. I doubt there's a real game in that box yet.
There's a clone. There's a clone in there.
There's definitely a clone in there somewhere. But yeah.
The
So I just
future.
kind of wanted to show it off,
That's
and
great.
it was pretty cool to see. Jay just sent me this picture. I said, "Dude, did you see this?" I said, "No, but that's awesome."
Nice.
Apparently, this is the artwork from the comic book, and this comic book particularly was I believe it's one of the #1 selling comic books out right now, outselling Darth Vader #1. And things like that, which was
with
huge
IDW.
last week. Yeah, and so we're pretty stoked about this, and our relationship with Pandasaurus and IDW is really good. So be looking out for some more stuff from Jay and myself and that publishing company in the future if everything goes as we think it will go. So yeah, there you go. That's that. I just wanted to share that. So thanks for letting me share it.
I think there's at least a cat. Schroeder's cat is in that box. So.
Or maybe there isn't.
Exactly. You never know.
You never know with that cat.
Well, again, it has come that time, sadly. The time has flown by. Wonderful discussion. Lots of very meaningful, thought-provoking stuff. I mean, we talked about everything from considering colorblindness to how to get into the industry. I appreciate your candor and just sharing great stories. Stay tuned. Next week we'll have a fantastic show for you. Meanwhile, keep making great games. Thanks from Meeple Syrup.